So we don't have money for vaccine now, says the El Presidente, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa. What happened to that 500 billion? Massive campaign to put together 500 billion in order to deal with COVID-19. Remember that, folks? So apparently the COVID vaccine is going to cost us about 20 billion. So we can take from that 500 billion that we've got. Didn't we go to the international banks to make some loans? The SADC Bank, the IMF? Or am I missing something? Oh, by the way, speaking of shortage of money, the president now says that we ran out of money. Far from running out of money to fund the COVID vaccine, of which now President Ramaphosa's government is saying that they're going to try to get the money for the vaccine by introducing tax basically in order to fund it. They're saying that they're going to tax the rich, but it's not always like that. The rich has now already had the Solidarity Fund, which they're putting the money in it. To quote Chief Justice Mogoeng, he always says that if somebody puts some money for you, if you put 1,000 rands or 500 rands in your bank, well, that's okay, But if he starts putting 1 million, 10 million, and so forth, clearly it's gonna be payback time. So the Solidarity Fund already, they're doing advertisement now. You can see it on television when you're watching your favorite movie or news. They're there. So these are the same companies which the government saying is going to tax in order to fund the vaccine. We all know initially when the government was putting together the 500 billion plan to deal with this virus, the government diverted some of the funds, I think over 400 billion. In fact, over 260 billion to 240 billion diverted in order to assist initially, and the other amount was going to be supplemented by borrowing from all these banks to equally make it 500 billion. But then we had a problem while we're still requesting banks to loan us. Never mind the issue of South Africa's sovereignty. When you start requesting countries or these big banks to loan you money, there's something that you're going to be paying in 10. The interest of that loan, the sovereignty, if you fail to pay the loan, there's something that they probably might take your pot or something, like how the Chinese is doing. So that's another issue. But now the government says that we don't have the money. That 350 rands which the Swallows, Morocco Swallows gentleman told some folks, street kids and hobos, saying, hey, that's your 350 rands that the government is giving it to you. You can do whatever you want with it. So the government says now they don't have that money. As we know, money doesn't grow from trees. So they're not continuing with that. There's issue of their funding, the temporary relief funding scheme that the government had. I think they call it the TERS, the TRS. Now that has slowed down, despite the fact that there are so many people who didn't get that supplementary amount from their companies, because the companies' hands were still out waiting for that money, because the government says, shut down your businesses, we will give you some money, and now the money is not forthcoming. And while that was still in the pipeline, I'm talking in terms of getting that 500 billion plan to fight the virus, in order to fund small businesses, to fund big businesses, to pay for unemployed insurance fund, and also the unemployed people, the 350 that the government was paying to unemployed people. Basically, to me, obviously, it's a campaign, because remember now, I think 60% of the ANC voters are rural. So it was just another campaign in order to say, hey guys, in 2024, during the election, remember we were heading you out 350, 350, and 350 back to back, vote for us. So it was a nice campaign move as well. So, as I was saying, while we're still saying that we're putting together the 500 billions and then the hyenas and the vultures were already, chowing the money with the PPE scandals all over each and every province, where now the president was talking about how he's going to be fighting corruption in this administration. All of a sudden, all this faction, the Zuma/Mahashule faction, people started to get their PPE tenders. The President Ramaphosa faction folks started getting their tenders for PPEs. And the spokesperson in the office of the presidency was then put on suspension because her husband got the deal. Apparently, as per the reports, that 5 days later, when the president announced the PPEs, that very same company that the spokesperson's husband owns started getting tenders. Now we're hearing news stories about over 400 million rands was chowed, the one that has to do the sanitations in school. So you can see where this whole thing is going. So we don't know what's going to be happening, but each and every single day, basically, instead of seeing the government combating this virus, trying to find out ways in which they're going to keep the businesses alive, we just get distracted by these two elephants battling and destroying the grass being civilian South African businesses, and they still have their favorite culprit, which is alcohol, that has been really destroyed the alcohol business industry, the restaurants, where people can't go to a restaurant to go have their favorite meal and have their favorite drink. So they're like, you know what, we're gonna maybe order in and I suppose wait when the liquor is allowed. And the funny thing about these associations and unions of the liquor industry, the restaurant industries, and so forth, what they've been doing, they were not being firm with the government. They were not being firm with the president. Every time you see them on TV, they say, we're hoping and we're praying for a meeting with the president so that the president can just listen to us, because if this closure of alcohol continue after Feb, we think that more and more shebeens and more taverns will be closed and we won't be able to survive. And then the same thing goes to the restaurant association. We're hoping to meet with the president. We're going to be doing a little bit of sit-ins and just to show how much we really, this closure is wreaking havoc in our industry. And they keep doing the same thing. They didn't learn from the taxi industry. The taxi industry, when the lockdown began, the government says, we're going to do this for a couple of months, 3 months. And the taxi industry said, okay, cool. What's going to be happening to our employees, the taxi drivers, and as well as the taxis that we now purchase from the dealerships, and we're using the money that we're getting from commuters in order to pay for our taxes. Oh, well, no, we're going to give you a relief. Oh, okay, cool. 3 months later, they're not getting their money. What did the taxi industry do? Went on strike, stopped the freeway. Okay? Soldiers were called in and skirmishes and over there and say, hey man, you said that we're essentials now. We're supposed to be traveling and having 70% of people in here. And this is just crazy. Okay, we're not going to take this anymore. Okay, while we're at it, we're going to increase the taxi fares by 100%. Some increased it by 150%. Okay? So what did the government say? The president went in there, put restriction on the liquor industry, restaurant industry, trade and tourism, and to the taxis now. Well, you can fill up everybody in the taxis as long as you open the windows. Like I said, these people maybe never took a taxi. Try to open one window in a taxi and try to travel and see what's going to happen. So it's not going to be happening. So windows are going to be closed, taxis are going to be full, the taxi industries continue, they're moving along. And on top of that, they are fighting along in order to keep their industry survive, and the industry is surviving. So guys, take a lesson to that, because this is not going to be stopping. And I think it's a very beautiful power grab to just keep on extending on the 15th of each and every month this Disaster Management Act. Why? Because the government is less accountable. They don't go to the parliament and negotiate with all other political parties. They're not going to be checked. They're not going to be held accountable. They just have their little committee there, the NCCC, National Coronavirus Command Council. You know, bureaucrats that we haven't even voted for them to take decisions. So they're gonna be coming more and more on TVs. They are Hollywood superstars now. Should I say Gollywood superstars? They're on TV each and every day, telling us how to live our lives and telling us about the first wave, the second wave, the third wave. I don't even know what wave we're gonna be on, and what strain are they gonna be talking about. The talks of now doubling up the mask. So this is just going to be continuing on and on. So we'll see. And my favorite part also is the media's onslaught each and every day, talking about how they're going to stamp out the vaccine denialists and what else, the misinformation. You know, this is just people on social media giving their views about the inoculations, whether they will not take it. Well, obviously, the majority of them are saying we're not going to take it. But when you watch TV, the TV says everybody's excited about the inoculations, and then they keep running along. And now the government, I saw the Minister of Health saying that they're going to be rolling out the vaccines, even though initially they said they don't even have money to roll out vaccines. And also they didn't put out the deposit. And that's why other nations also are doing inoculations before the Republic of South Africa, because the government said that they didn't want to take a risk of putting out deposit, and all of a sudden they're not, and then the vaccine is not viable in terms of dealing with the coronavirus in South Africa. So we'll see as this continue. That's my take. My name is Mamuji, and thanks for watching the Mamuji Show, and I'm out.